I had an experience this week that I wanted to share because the many lessons are layered and still keep coming. It's about being offended or offensive or offending. Now, I'm really aware with this of not getting caught up in the drama of the story, so my intention is to set the scene as quickly as possible and draw from the lessons and the experience rather than the he said, she said. So it's not about debating who is right and wrong, but what we can learn and how we can grow from these sorts of experiences. I'm Liz Watt. Welcome or welcome back to where we talk about how to integrate work, life, and spirituality. So in a nutshell, let's set the scene. Let's say I engage the services of someone for their information and expertise in a certain field. Now, it turns out that our worldviews are very different. I embrace concepts like sovereignty, self-responsibility, and natural law, while she embraces concepts such as social justice, inclusion, and oppression, which is fine. So I've come to a point for me where I mostly, to the best of my ability, intend to allow everyone to exist freely. So I made a comment agreeing with the concept, I cannot offend you if you choose not to be offended. Instead, we should empower people to master their emotions and response because we can't control the outside world. We can only control ourselves. So the response from this person was that my comment and thoughts had offended some other people and they were potentially racist, ableist, sexist, or discriminatory. It wasn't explained exactly how. But it seems it's not the comment itself that is offensive, but how someone might go on to extrapolate, imply, and layer in their own personal meaning and experience into it. So this perspective deems that if someone feels offended by something, it is offensive. The intention and the actual content itself seems irrelevant. But what was interesting to me were the different aspects of my own psyche that arose. So my ego wanted to go in, guns blazing, to pick apart every word and defend my thoughts and worldview, to prove her wrong and show how right I was. So I journaled that out and we refrained. But then another aspect of my human self did an internal eye roll like an impatient teenager and decided it was way too hard even to try to engage or dialogue with this perspective. Then there was the observer and my soul who kept whispering there were big lessons to learn and to pay close attention. Then a part of me wanted to say, I told you so, you kind of knew you were misaligned, but tried to focus on the message and the information and ignore the messenger. But I only beat myself up mentally for a very short time over this. But the most interesting part that arose was a deep, quiet, very vulnerable and very wounded child. This is a part of me that when I really tapped into her, broke into very distraught tears. Literally. This is the aspect of me that when prompted, explained that she felt unheard and misunderstood. Her entire life, she has been told by authority figures that people don't want to hear what she has to say, she's too hard, and to just be quiet and do what she's told. And now she's engaging the services of someone to help her that tells her she's wrong and basically to be quiet. So for decades, this aspect of me has questioned in her mind, my mind, her view of the world, and she stayed silent. I've stayed silent. She tries to understand the other perspective and doesn't want to hurt people, but desperately wants and needs to express herself as she is right now, right or wrong. So my original intention was never, ever, ever to offend, but to empower the ideas of self-responsibility and sovereignty. And these sorts of concepts are the core of my work and things that have really empowered me to evolve and grow. So to me, it appears that we're mismatched and our worldview and values are clearly misaligned. And we should just agree to go our separate ways and move on. So I said as much and it was reinforced that I was wrong and offensive. The problem with this subjective approach to offense is that the collective and feelings of minorities and the group are more important than the individual. The very personal, emotional responses of a small few, which are completely valid, but they override the logic and rationale and the ability for open discussion and healthy debate. So must we all go about censoring everything we think or say just in case it offends someone? And should those who unintentionally offend be educated, changed, and controlled and deemed offensive? And what about my offense and past traumas? What about this inner child of mine who might be wounded from decades of being told not to speak out and express herself. Why does my intention or perspective not matter? Why am I just wrong because someone else was offended first? Just because you feel offended, does that make you right? And the irony here is that in the process of being inclusive, only those that agree with one perspective are included. Opposing views are dismissed as wrong and oppressive, and no one wants to be wrong or oppressive, so they switch and agree to fit in, except when you don't, which in this case, and for a big part of my life, is me. While an aspect of my ego was offended, I admit I'm human, I'm not perfect. Overall, I'm not. I've actually come to a place of being grateful for this experience because it busted open a heap of stuff. It gave me the opportunity to connect with this inner child who I've been neglecting and heal another layer towards fuller self-expression. It gave me the opportunity to process something over a matter of days rather than weeks or months, and it gave me the opportunity to express myself and stand firm in who I am, my values and my worldview. I didn't waver or question myself, which I have done so often in the past. It gave me the opportunity to learn many lessons and reminders. The lessons are many and layered, and these are mine. But in this story, you're very likely to find your own. Firstly, learn to recognize and tap into your intuition. Trust it and follow it. Stop questioning your higher self. Then, when working with anyone in this 3D world, it's becoming more and more important to understand their values and worldview and ensure that you are energetically and even morally aligned. But regardless of the choices you make, everything is perfect and will ultimately get you to where you need to be. You cannot make a wrong choice or decision, so you can relax about that. In terms of relating to other people, we cannot control the behaviors, emotions, or thoughts of other people, nor should we try to, even if we think they are super wrong. We're all here for an individual journey, and in a way, we're each alone, so we do need to collectively support one another in this journey of life. However, true unity is where we allow others to exist as they are, to experience their own journey and view of the world, and that we're allowed to do the same. You're the only one who can heal your wounds and traumas, and every time we experience an emotional trigger, it's actually an opportunity to heal. So by tiptoeing, trying not to offend, and making sure everyone feels good and okay, are we actually denying others to heal their wounds? So this perspective, I'm sure, may be controversial. You might agree with some of it, or all of it, or none of it. It might offend some of you. But it's not intended that way. It's intended as a reflection and an opportunity for growth. I never, ever set out to hurt or harm or offend people with any of the work I do, but only to put out a perspective for consideration. But who knows, down the track I may gain more insight and information and change my mind. This perspective right now is not right or finite forever, but how you respond is up to you. If it triggers and offends you and brings up emotions, embrace the opportunity to pay attention and heal. You can be offended, you can heal, learn and grow, or you can just walk away. But if you want to move towards a place of true unity and allowance, don't demand that people suppress and change who they are and what they think to make you feel better because you don't like what they think or say. Or, like in this case, go ahead and do it because there's heaps that they can learn and grow. It doesn't matter. Everything is perfect and everything will get people to where they need to be. The choice is yours. This type of approach is a little different to my normal episodes, but this content really just flowed and came to me and it felt like it needed to come out. So in learning to trust my higher self and my creative flow and intuition, I'm putting it out into the world. If you liked what you hear, make sure you hit like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you want to hear more raw personal stories and content like this. In the meantime, thank you for listening. Have a great day and I will see you next time.